Y me dice yo, lo buscó porque el viejito quería cuca. Ya, bueno,
Trent Alexander-Arnold at the right back position. He's got a license to roam.
Gonzalo,
Sometimes you think it's no sense of no Mbappe, no sense of forward really for Real Madrid. Manchester City, David Haaland. He's joined by Semenyo. Shape of a 4-2-3-1 instead.
¿y quién ha subido a la mesa?
Interested.
¿Quién ha dicho a usted que ande aquí a la mesa?
Battle here.
Yeah.
Right, it's going to.
Son una
And then he tried to carry the fight down Real Madrid right.
respuesta.
And Diaz coming across to
Un pedazo de uva.
Thiago.
Y no puede
Touch
comer.
to
Yo creo que mal lo miro. Y todo el culo pone ahí.
That for Real Madrid. Four of them. 12 yards out. Chunked your teammate. Believe that he's going to get it across.
Mark Knight back in his home country, 190th Champions League game as a coach. It was achieved by the esteemed former adversary Sir Alex Ferguson. Now, Carlo Ancelotti has spent more time on Champions League touchlines.
Ala, sir, kumain ka mga ano.
We get a touchline back in England. He'll let his feelings spill over on Saturday. We're showing the yellow card for the sixth time this season. So now he still cares. But it's not finding Bernardo Silva. Here, Blockball. Pull back is leading rather than it's a menu again. He's got the beating at the right side. They round it to defense. They're trying to run it back. Vinicius Junior can take them on his own. Thiago Pitach. Diaz, Vinicius Junior. Raheem Diaz, that's a smart start. Good save that by Donnarumma. Raheem Diaz just 20 goals. Donnarumma had to react.
It's an instinctive shot and an instinctive save. You're just wondering where the gap was going to be. You thought it was well marshalled by the back ball. Through the iron needle, he was offside. If it had gone in, it would get overturned. So it's a bonus corner for Real Madrid. Fortunate Pitach not to trip him up, but again, not for the first time. Wondering where that finish was going to come from.
I put Alexander on. It's the latter. It's headed forward by Rudiger. From start. The league phase game here in December was open and eventful. Real Madrid led for 7 minutes in the first half before a rare Thibaut Courtois spill gifted City an equaliser. Match settled in the end by Erling Haaland's penalty on the stroke of half time, but both teams created and wasted second half chances. Those 9 games over the last 4 years produced 37 goals in all, 4 per match. They usually come out swinging, both of them.
Just see, we're talking about Manchester City's front line. You can see Ferland Mendy's in there. 2, 3, 4, 5 Real Madrid players in that front line themselves. So when you've got possession, you've got to be brave as a back line. You can see the floor going very narrow for Manchester City. It's ignoring the far man.
It was something on Friday in Vigo where very often Raheem Diaz and Vinicius Junior held the width, and then a variety of players were invited to run into the spaces in the centre of the field. Very fluid.
It's a lot of responsibility on Tchouameni in there because he's probably the only one that's not going to be invited to go in there.
Look what that he is, number 8. Savinho sucked it into the path of Kusen. That is a free kick to Manchester City.
Just for the transition. If you've got that many players going forwards, tackle in there. They're the moments that are key tonight. If you've got the transition, you've got the players going forwards, it can really hurt whoever hasn't got it.
There's questions about Alexander Arnold have been asked throughout his career, really, thinking back to his epic contests with the likes of Raheem Sterling and Jack Grealish and Leroy Sané in Liverpool Manchester City games. Remember Sané taking him on in the quarter-final of 2018, and it actually brought the best out of Alexander Arnold. Seemed to focus his defending. He has a dangerous customer against him, and he's certainly got one here in Jeremy Doku. Rodri. Kusen. Savinho. Semenyo. opened up for Gahey. Instead, he fed Semenyo and just lost concentration a little bit and was quite easily rocked by Argula. Completely done by Mendy. Thiago Pitach. Alexander Arnold. Really good. Wasn't too keen then on the tick-attacker that Real Madrid were playing out of defence.
Just the spidey senses were tingling with the danger there. We can sort of see a couple of loose parts in it. That's enough of that. Oh, the wonderful free-flowing footballer is one guy who loves to defend.
Something, yeah.
¿Y por qué por el dedo? ¿No?
Champions.
Yes.
Nunca nos han eliminado en el campo.
Yeah.
So Riley's got beyond him. And just the next with Harvey. That's at least 3 times Manchester City have got into very dangerous crossing positions on the left. Savinho stabbed away by Rudiger. Vinicius Junior finds Valverde. Real Madrid find a way out momentarily until Kusanov slides in. We'll be seeing a lot of Vinicius Junior tonight, as indeed he did last February when he played his first ever game as a right back against Vinicius, Mbappe and Bellingham. And he had a difficult night here, it has to be said.
It's a real vote of confidence for him, though, isn't it? To getting back out there. It's just that little touch from the aforementioned Tony Rudiger that made the difference. As you say, getting to that byline, they've been doing it more and more at Manchester City. And that's a real opportunity for them.
Real Madrid have lost to both Osasuna and Celta Vigo in the last 3 weeks. Defeats to lesser lights of the Spanish league that few predicted. City now unbeaten in the 11 games since their surprise loss to Bodo Glimt in this competition. But they've fallen behind twice in those 11 games, but they had to come from a goal down to win at Newcastle in the FA Cup last Saturday night.
Fair to say that neither have been overly convincing, have they, Manchester City, with those undefeated run, but they've not been convincing in them games. What's that? They did bring them as squad players that maybe haven't had the like he touched on. Doku, Savinho, starting for a while, but those options are there for Pep Guardiola. The strength in depth is there that maybe Madrid don't have.
Yeah, Stocker's first start for 5 weeks on Saturday. He's been nursing a calf injury. Savinho had been out for a little longer, just nearly 2 months with a thigh injury. Here's Doku once more, running Alexander Arnold once more. And this time the crossing is cut out by Valverde. A little cap there from Alexander Arnold for his captain. He needs all the help he can get from Valverde this evening.
Yeah, Valverde stepping in into that back line as centre back on the right hand side. Trent Alexander Arnold going out and just feeling that he's going to come up short a number of times.
In this match, Hadapila against Erling Haaland. A case of 2 biggins. Driven in by Bernardo Silva. Semenyo just slipped. I think it's gone round Madrid's way. It was actually beautifully executed. But Semenyo lost his footing. Bernardo Silva picked him out, I think.
Yeah, with that pile of movement that was there to create the space. And not for the first time tonight. There's been 3 or 4 Manchester City players fall over on this pitch. It's slick. See it cutting up there on the screens now.
That seems like extensive warm-ups. You do wonder when you saw the problems that had across the city here just last night with key players slipping at very key moments and finding themselves 4-0 down in no time. I'm feeling Vinicius Junior. Action, maybe. Diaz to Valverde. Return back to the top of Ibrahim Diaz is penalised for Carlo Doku. Holland's come very deep for the ball. I haven't seen a lot of Golden Holland on the ball as yet, but it's not all together unusual.
It's good news pressing by Real Madrid. They sense that. It's the danger that with Holland coming in short, City weren't going to go long. Why not go for it? Why not be extra aggressive? Question too aggressive.
There is Holland spinning away from Rudiger. So it's just a little bit too much, even if the mini donkey.
El Michelson la estaba anunciando ayer.
Even players are going to have to link up with Vinicius Junior tonight. He's going to be the one stepping across and stepping in. That can't be all the time. You have to be effective.
3. Finding his way out of a tight spot and linking with Ruben Diaz. Sabinho. Playing in for Riley. Well, you're doing just enough hit point, but hello, Silva. It's a difficult skill to execute with the power he needed to meet Thibaut Courtois. Yeah, he's going to be special.
Well, why not? Just going to have a swing at it.
Enough real. Keeps the get the bend on. The last 2 Champions League winning goalkeepers in opposition tonight. Donnarumma, 7 years Courtois Junior, and he's been beaten here. And Valverde's in, and Ramos controls. Nothing.
Yes. No, y el domingo que vayamos a la playa, ese domingo va a jugar el Madrid para el Atlético a las 2, que van a ser a las 4 aquí. Aquí va a ser a las 4 y allá va a ser a las 2. Yo creo que en el rancho donde nos vamos a quedar hay televisión. A ver, por favor.
Just felt like that and such. He could get there. He was never going to, and he made the decision not to bring down Valverde. It's a long game. Another leg he would have been suspended for. I said, tell you what, you take the goal. It is on the ball from Courtois. Fantastic touch and a brilliant finish. Valverde taking the first touch too from Valverde.
Just knock it out of his feet, and there's long strides in the face. They were longer than Donnarumma's coming the other way. And Rossi got the race to the ball. He was always going to score. Arbeloa said just this week he's looking for 10 or 12 goals this season from his form. Only twice into double figures in his 8 seasons at Real Madrid. And haven't scored in the Champions League since a late equaliser in a quarter-final thriller against Manchester City here nearly 2 years ago.
Such a difficult one as a goalkeeper. When a player is in full flight, you think you're going to get there that bit quicker, but they get there that bit quicker than you think you're going to.
You can see why he came. I don't think you could call it rash, because once Valverde had knocked it beyond the line, Donnarumma was completely exposed. And he backed himself to win the race, and he came a very sad second.
When a player is in full flow like Valverde, when he is in full stride, margin for error, that distance has got to be so much more in your favour.
He knows that now. Valverde doing some sterling work at the other end of the field. This is Junior. Here's a little stat you'll enjoy. We know Real Madrid and Manchester City have met in 6 knockout ties in recent Champions League history. Real prevailed in 4 of them, City in 2. But in the last 5 of those 6 encounters since 2020, the team that scored the first goal of the tie was the team that eventually went. I'm not sure that will bother Real Madrid too much at the moment.
That's the goal now. It's a wonder for their belief as well.
I'm used to crazy nights at the Bernabeu. That was a crazy goal. What an assist for Thibaut Courtois. Talking about those 2 goalkeepers, the last 2 Champions League winners, Donnarumma with Paris Saint-Germain last season. Roland Mendy. It's possessed by Bernardo Silva. And this is Junior. Diaz resisted. Also anxious to get it back, and that's
Y andaba en la bolsa. ¿Y cómo viste? ¿Y cómo se cayeron?
So the surprise, the disappointment of conceding in the way they did.
You're not seen in 1, then 2, then 3 here. The Bernabeu, don't they? It's a nice thing you talk about. It has fallen away quickly. I think Manchester City now just have to take check and say, well, this is a long night still. It's an even longer one. 6 days' time.
Thiago Pitach. Vinicius Junior. While he was quite athletic there, it's interesting. He's had a wonderful run into the team this season, but was moved back into his preferred role in midfield at the end of January. He hadn't even been tried as a left back until just over a year ago. He'd been capped by England in that position now, but he thinks of himself as a midfield player. He's been playing there of late, moved back into the back 4 tonight. Who knows? Maybe that just counted for that slight lack of concentration.
It's just a step forward, wasn't it? Step forward in front of that man. There's no real need. You want to be aggressive. You want to win the ball. Caught out just by being in front of the halfway line. It's there then. Giving Valverde that step, that yard, that made the difference because it was that pinpoint of ball.
21 in 10 days' time, Nico O'Reilly. I mean, he is a novice at this level, albeit a very promising one. Maybe a little inexperienced show then cancel with the Real Madrid skipper. Here is O'Reilly. Gagey. And we'll keep Rudiger honest and dispossessive. Long sees to that.
Falling behind is on. You see the run of Valverde there. Vinicius Junior before on the flanks. A high line from Manchester City. Do have good balls, good possession in midfield. Just a flick round and not a good one. Had it then. He's on.
afford to take that kind of risk. Just he carried the threat. Something 20 minutes until Real Madrid goalkeeper, with the Real Madrid captain, Routine or goal. Here's Valverde looking for another.
What?
So they can
Amazing.
remember, did that with his leg for expert finish. Real Madrid have scored twice in the opening half hour. They've taken charge of the delay. Well, it's a running finish that any of the Real Madrid greats ought to be proud of. And this is Junior just waiting for that movement. And it's a touch from Diaz that sets him. But from there, we talked about his first touch for the first goal. Well, this is equal to it. Just to measure it, to wait it in front of him, to be able to put his laces through it, find the bottom corner. That is a touch on the finish of the highest order. And from nowhere, Real Madrid have had 2 attacks and scored 2 goals. He's in dreamland. The Bernabeu is in dreamland. And it's a game number 76 in the Champions League for Valverde tonight. He's now scored 5 Champions League goals. He is hardly prolific, but he has taken those 2 chances so coolly and so cleanly. Wonderful technique to set himself. Really crisp finishes. This one from, as you can see, almost hydrant, like wing back on. There he is, a centre forward. It's been incredibly far for him. He is an incredible player. I mean, I remember a couple of weeks ago we were talking during the Real Madrid Benfica game about the truly world-class players in the Real Madrid squad, and inevitably you talk about Vinicius Junior, and I think Courtois, and maybe Bellingham, but you would have to say Valverde too. Kisanov, Ruben Diaz. O'Reilly. Dispossessed by that man Valverde. He is everywhere at the moment, and he finds Vinicius Junior. Gulen. Alexander Arnold. Valverde. And it will be interesting to see how this flying start affects Arbeloa's approach, because we're half an hour into the game. His team lead 2-0. If it's still 2-0 in an hour's time, I think he'd be very happy with that. Absolute thrill. The minutes that tick by, he doesn't have to deal with it at the minute. Manchester City are chasing ghosts. They can't get close to Real Madrid. Confidence is ticking. But do you push on and look for more? Or do you become a little bit more pragmatic now and say, this will do us, you know? Look at how they go about it and not really chase the goals as it is from the start. In terms of the balance of the attacking play, Manchester City have asked most of the questions, but Fede Valverde has found both of the answers. Oh, that is just so cool. Saw the massive frame of Donnarumma pounding out towards him and just totally past him. Took the ring road. And now with his unfavoured left foot, finds the corner of the same keeper's net. And no, you've got to have something special to beat Donnarumma. He's done it twice. The look, 2 little glances up at the first one, thinking just to check where Donnarumma was. To measure up his answer net. Just head down and laces through it. And he's such a good all-round player. 65th game for club and country in the last 12 months tonight. Often captain. Real Madrid's club captain is Dani Carvajal, who who's a French player now, so Valverde usually wears the armband, and the same with Uruguay. This is Julian penalised. He was have that suspension threat in the back of his mind. Six players on the field, the yellow card away from being ruled out of the second leg. Howson, Chouameni, Vinicius Jr., Gahey, Wiley, and Savini. You might wonder how Mark Gahey finishes up with 2 yellow cards to his name on his first appearance in the Champions League. Well, he has been playing in the UEFA Conference League this season for Crystal Palace and picked up 2 yellow cards in that. So that's some good times on that touchline. It's bad times too. 1/2 of his 28 coaching contests with Real Madrid, lost only 7.
Te voy a mandar
This
esos
was far from over.
65 son.
It's not going to plan.
No me acuerdo del préstamo de nuevo, ¿no? Solo falta el invernal.
It's the question, Clive, of
Mañana es 12, ¿verdad?
fancy Manchester City, the way it's going, taking just a 2-goal deficit, because they're still in the tie. If this goes 3 and 4, judging by the way that Freddie Valverde's finishing, he needs 1 or 2 more chances. It could happen, but this game is still on at 2.
Alvarado asked him last week for 10 or 12 a season. He didn't mean get them all in one night. Indeed. Slovenia. Those challenges. The referee had a think, wondered whether advantage might be played.
Take a kick out of the 3 of them. None of them quite got it. Too many.
I see Erling Haaland.
Blocked in the previous one and the previous set piece for create others.
Got short for Semenyo. Lanced off the head of Mendy to Doku. Madrid. Doku. It's got Alexander Arnold more isolated this time. Look at the support. Suddenly there were 3 white shirts for Doku to get past.
They realise they sense the danger, don't they? They know the game plan is Savino and Doku and Semenyo get to the touchline and come get the cutbacks in.
So seeking out Doku again. Just for a moment he had Alexander Arnold 1-on-1, but it was only for a moment. They're running around their right back. This has been the captain most of this first half. Just look at the scoreline. Doku able to slide it into O'Reilly. Just a little bit too much enthusiasm there by Brahim Diaz.
I just feel that not the first time he's done that, Brevin Diaz, that's too tight. You've just got to You've done your job. You've made it go back. You need to put your hands on him. You got your man going all the way you want to. You can see him back under pressure. Just see every single Manchester City player in that line there, offside.
So you wait for them to step in and block. Other silver attacks. Away by Father Guler of all people. Semenya. Savinho. Defending that edge of that box. Manfully at the moment. Vinicius Junior spinning into trouble. Savinho likewise. Miscontrolled by Fernand Mendy, who played 90 minutes in Vigo on Friday for only the second time in the last 12 months. Nursing all kinds of injury problems for the last year and longer.
Practice isn't something he needs, really. Stepped in and did well at the weekend. Saying that it's incredible just to come back out and churn out another performance.
Now, the Simmers make the run. Benny Valverde is here, there, and everywhere. Now there's self-attacks. Tree by Dockett. The corner.
It's the first contact that was made by Ruben Diaz. It was a free header. It's been full of chances that have gone across the face of Ruben. Now Madrid's goal, just needing that second touch.
Silva with in-swing this time. Doesn't clear Valverde, of course it doesn't. The free kick has gone to Real Madrid anyway.
I was thinking that section of the box. So many bodies, but I think it's one of those people who've got to, you're going to have to get it further away than that. Something different.
This is that big win. It's 2 months in the job, and already all the talk seems to be about who comes next. We'll certainly hop that conversation. We can pull off a significant victory over Manchester City here. And that's a mistake by Gahey. Brahim Diaz just unable to pass. O'Reilly rides his luck a little bit and gives it away to Thiago to touch. Another Silva wasteful this time. So Albert nice to meet you on us. It's been a very committed and energetic Real Madrid performance, which are not necessarily adjectives you always associate with the great Real teams. But what a pass that is, by the way.
He knew exactly the angle he wanted, the place he wanted it at. Just that composure that he knew with Donnarumma coming now. The lights go out, and it goes dark, and you're just thinking, where can I go? Well, the only spot he could do.
I'm not sure that's something they worked on in the training centre, but it certainly came off. Bernardo Silva to Semenyo. And now Doku. For a cross, and Just miscue it slightly and swing up and comfortable enough for Courtois. Vinicius Junior trying to stretch. Kusanov is not being fouled. Vinicius Junior goes on and on. Sets up Goulet. Thiago to touch. Brahim Diaz locked it into
Part 3.
Historic.
Part 3.
Real Madrid have had some great captains down the years. But boy, has he led from the front tonight. Fede Valverde. It has been a one-man super performance. I'll take a bow, because this has been something special from Fede Valverde. Just a look, the ball, the touch, everything. It's just spectacular. And this is the pick of the bunch. The first one was composed. The second was a wonderful finish. This has got everything. It's been the stuff of dreams for the man who's done it all. There is nothing quite like this in the career of Fede Valverde. 3 goals in his first 75 Champions League appearances. 3 more in the next 42 minutes. With that out. They are stunned. Manchester City, the Bernabeu are stunned. Everyone is stunned at just the sheer brilliance. He is capable of brilliant stuff, but I just don't think we ever could imagine pulling out something like this. Mainly defending his flank, Pennsylvania. If I would have been happy with 2-0 at the end of the night. Obviously thinking about 3-0. Then they come again. Oh, look, they've almost got men over there. They ran into trouble. Really been just a bit part in his world at the minute for the last 44 minutes. It's just been Fede Valverde's world, and we've been watching him. It was a lovely moment on Friday when he scored the late winner in Vigo. A rather fortunate winner, a heavily deflecting winner, and he went straight over to the veteran Real Madrid fitness coach who's won his job back under Alvaro Arbeloa. Special tribute to him. I think he suffered a family bereavement in recent days. You get the impression he's just that kind of guy, Valverde. What a man to have on your side. He rarely misses a game. He rarely has a back game, wherever you play him. But tonight, he has moved up several levels. He is floating on his own cloud. He has been essential for this team because of his versatility. Now, it's essential not just for the goals, but for the belief in the side, for the feeling around the club. This has transformed their season this half. I think the other 10 will volunteer to give him a massage at half time. You just get your feet up, Skip. Carry him off now. We'll have a try ready for him in the corner of the dressing room. King of Madrid tonight. Savinha. He was rather clumsy challenge by Mendy. But it was effective. Well, that's the end of part 1 of the Fede Valverde show, ladies and gentlemen. 3 goals, yes, just the 3 goals. Doubles his Champions League tally in one night.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to the Heineken Halftime House. We're at the breaking our matches, so it is time for a Heineken unmissable moment. Jamie, tell them what it is.
And this performance so far from my man Frederico, reminding me of the great Brazilian Zico. What a performance! A hat trick of sublime finishes. Almost Dennis Bergkamp play. Almost. Almost. I'm just saying because Mike, I couldn't do it. It's too sad. Mike couldn't do it.
Go ahead, Cello.
You good, Micah?
Oh, shit.
It's okay.
Wala naman yan.
Right. Well, that's it. That is our first half Heineken unmissable moment. We'll give Mike the break. Don't worry about it. We'll be back in just
Miserable
a
meat.
second.
He crosses the ball.
When we're out together, dancing cheek to cheek.
Yan naman kayo. And Juan,
Roll to the Charmin Forever roll and go up to 1 month before changing your roll. Comes with 2 Forever roll and a premium stainless steel roll holder. Oh yeah.
I just wanted to get your thoughts on the new Jeep Grand Cherokee. I love the vibe in here. It's so bougie and leathery. I see you're enjoying that best-in-class legroom.
I love the smell of a 2-liter Hurricane 4 turbo engine in the morning.
You like it?
Well, the headroom is ample.
At Great Wolf Lodge, the splashes are huge. The action never stops, and the smiles come easy. So bring your pack together and book your stay today and strengthen the pack. 1 second, they're a neighbor you like. The next, they're a neighbor you trust. 1 second, you're worrying about your home. And then, thanks to ADT, there's a lot less to worry about. Feel secure enough to let others in with Trusted Neighbor from ADT.
If you've been injured in a car crash, here's what Selena Law wants you to know about the insurance company. They want you to talk to them, but you definitely should.
They don't want to pay you, but they absolutely can. They want you to take their first offer, but you can do better.
They don't see you as a person, but we do.
At Selena Law, we make it tough on the insurance company while making it easier on you.
Crash, call Selena. Injured? Call the 8s.
This match is brought to you by Bet365. And Heineken, UEFA Champions League official partners. Right, so Real Madrid 3-0 up at the halfway point against Manchester City. We're about to get into the second half. Micah, give us some hope.
We fight to the end. We're Manchester City. We fight to the end. I tell you what, it's only a quarter way gone. Don't forget the return leg as well.
Yes.
Get a goal in this. Oh, there's a sub as well. Ryan does a little bit more energy in midfield. This tie, it's not over. Mark my words.
So, with that, we're going to send you back out for the second half and send you back over to your commentators for Real Madrid against Manchester City, Clive Tilsley and Rob Green.
Tiani Reinders for Savinho. There's the Manchester City half-time change. Garcia for Philip Mensch. So it's the Real Madrid half-time change. Mendy's played so little football in the last year. Pressed into service this evening because of an injury to Alvaro Carreras as much as anything. So Fran Garcia has made just one brief appearance in the last 7 weeks and almost led the club in January. Somewhat led back, but perhaps a more interesting and intriguing change for Green because it's not like for like, it's Tiani Reinders for Slovenia.
Yeah, one in four. Well, as a tactical switch, you can see Semenyo now has dropped out onto this right-hand side, and Reinders, who loves to get forward, loves to make runs beyond Ireland, is playing as another central defender effectively. It's going to be interesting. Just we're all still stunned on that first half. How can Real Madrid go about this to keep this? You're feeling 3-0. They'll be happy to sit in this shape and say we'll do it when we can to preserve the lead.
So, new equation here: Fran Garcia against Semenyo on the Manchester City right, Kusanov, Ruben Diaz. Reinders has been used mainly as a substitute since the end of January. Did start at Newcastle on Saturday, set up the second goal in that FA Cup tie when close himself. He has actually scored in this stadium for Milan. But Brahim Diaz is looking for even more Real Madrid goals, and he needed a very good save. Vinicius Junior is there. Donnarumma to the rescue that time. Brahim Diaz just ran right through the heart of the City defence. He forced an excellent save. Reinders trying to get involved immediately. Bernardo Silva, Kusanov. Rodri. I'm sure Real Madrid can afford for the game to get too over. Doku. Alexander Ibrahimovic just enough.
It's a fantastic save, but it's a big save. Yes, right. Half length of the pitch, and you're just feeling there now. That could have been a moment where he could have gone down. He chose not to. Wasn't the cleanest of strikes. What was important was the save, and then the block from Diaz after the reaction here, just to get in between them. Big moment in the second half. That
Reinders will take the corner. All right. Well, it was a time before he knew it, and as a whistle has been blown, I'm not sure it would have counted even if O'Reilly had scored. Maybe Courtois was impeded, was he?
I think that's what the foul was for there, Haaland. You can see just holding a fraction, but he's fortunate. Interesting, had it gone in, VAR would have said.
Quite like the smile off his face. With all kinds of different stories about Kylian Mbappe's knee injury. He's been back in Paris for a week or so, getting a second opinion and some further treatment. He returned to Madrid on Monday and did some light training. But on the one hand, some reports are that it is nothing more than a knee sprain, but there are some rather darker rumours around that it may involve the cruciate ligament, which is really the deadly injury for any footballer. Anxious times for Mbappe. Maybe feeling as if they can rest him a little longer. Semenyo. That by Fran Garcia. It's really good from Armadula. Thiago Pitach. The man of the moment, Valverde. He's the searching class too. Yeah, he's had a difficult night, responded well to that. Now, Atleti's victory against Spurs yesterday bucked a trend of English teams having a hold over Spanish opponents this season. The Premier League came out ahead in 9 of the 10 encounters with La Liga teams in the first phase of the Champions League. Barcelona held Newcastle last night too, just about. Real Madrid are trouncing Manchester City. Doku fed into Reinders. Did a bit too much on that. Got into a very good position.
I wasn't quite sure what to do with it really. And he thought he was offside, but that touch and it was like a stunned chip to the far post. There's the areas where they had success, just getting it across the 6-yard box and saying someone be there. Failed in the first half again. There's no one really there.
It's a typical Manchester City build-up plan. Just using those channels around the edges of the 6-yard box, making runs into the dead ball line and putting the ball back. The Real Madrid are playing through them at times. I think 10 of the last 12 finals have been won by clubs from Spain or England. 9 of this round of 16 clubs from those two powerhouse leagues. The English Premier League are having a difficult week. Excited.
Just really got back on side there. Vinicius Junior. It's been an interesting week in terms of the Premier League and the defeats and sudden staring down the barrel of a few teams, and just not also the Manchester City really now shell shocked. Interesting to find out what Guardiola told him at half time. Something that's just down to individual brilliance and magic from Valverde.
Touched by Riders back to also Riley, who's guilty of a body check. It's Madrid magic. They somehow manage to conjure something up so many times in Champions League games when they seem to be with backs against the wall. Their response is always to come out and try to produce something which you can turn again. Not, you don't look in the record books to see they succeed. I mean, the most famous encounter, infamous encounter here was the semi-final of 2022 when Real were 5-3 down on aggregate heading into the 90th minute against Manchester City and somehow won. Rigo scored twice in added time. Karim Benzema converted a penalty in extra time, and Real went on to beat Liverpool in Paris. Times. And they can Oku. From Valverde, and Alexander Arnold gets the second bite at it. The thread is dealt with.
I won't mind that so much. Real Madrid there, well set in the back line. You can see the whole of the midfield. Vinicius Junior as well. That is the 11 there for Real Madrid. They are sitting deep. They break out at times, but it's in now.
Antoine Semenyo. Big test this for Fran Garcia. Kusanov. Gagey. So you've got to somehow try and mix purpose with patience. O'Reilly, Semenyo, got to pick the lock. Bernardo Silva, Semenyo. But they decided to take on Courtois in his near post, and I don't think that was a contest he was likely to win.
It is a different proposition down this side now with Semenyo down here, but it is the wrong choice. He slips again. So many players have slipped this evening. He puts off on their own thing.
Así le pasó a Eduardo una vez, el año antepasado que íbamos para El Salvador, creo. Y se lo devolvieron. Cuando regresamos ya estaba una carta aquí que había visto que no era cierto. Que había hecho la compra. Nada decirle. Dámelo decirle.
Look who's in the clear here. It's Vinicius Junior. He's round the goalkeeper. Down. Penalty.
Que le resolvieron,
Vinicius Junior with two.
que le resuelven.
Donnarumma tried to run on and scoop it away from his feet, but he caught Vinicius Junior. And Real Madrid have an opportunity to go 4-up.
Opportunity to be outside here. Here's a clear penalty, a blatant penalty. Donnarumma just thinking he can get that nick. Vinicius Junior knowing him. In half the pitch to run into. Manchester City so open. He's left the door open, the gate open, the keys to the lock. Right there for Vinicius Junior to run into. He's taken that opportunity.
But in Kylian Mbappe's absence, I imagine Vinicius Junior will take this penalty. He scored a couple against Real Sociedad.
Qué bueno.
To go in one game.
Cabal.
One to the goalkeeper's left, one to the goalkeeper's right. He's just developed a little
No me he cansado.
switch to the ball to try to throw the goalkeeper off. He's 3 out of 4 this season. He did have one saved against Valencia back in November when he tried to go low to the keeper's right, and it's too close. And this is a massive moment in the entire tie. Gianluigi Donnarumma
Buena idea.
against Vinicius Junior to headline that
Que una ventana.
who wins. Little stepped and fallen.
Mira. Aquí estoy transitando muchísimo. Moca.
Just about keeps his
Mira
team
la moca.
in this tie.
That's a lifeline. He makes amends
Quique, yo soy gatita.
in games with big moments. How much that'll come back to. Well, that was the opportunity to put this out of sight for Manchester City. Donnarumma steps up in what he does best. He apologises. It wasn't a great penalty.
Porque ahí se pone a chismear también.
Just had to stall long enough on his dive to allow Vinicius Junior to commit.
He missed one in the round of 16 last season, but that was wild and high across the city against Atleti in a tie which eventually was settled in a penalty shootout
Hermosa.
to its favour. The 19th one in the
Mira
shootout
que ya está puesto, agarró ya, mira. Mira.
just wasn't the power to beat Donnarumma once he gets right.
Ah, vaya.
Was there, wasn't it? That was the breakaway that we've seen. So
Yeah.
Madrid are going to sit and wait. That's the point. Alton. Wonder,
¿Qué cortaste?
32 minutes time, they'll look back at that and smart and say that was the chance.
Yes,
It was us to have a much easier night in Manchester in 6 days' time.
Ujú.
Which comes to the really size 10
Ah, no, hombre.
just about managed to go it wide.
Ujú,
It's as close as Manchester City have kept from scoring from one of those balls in.
ujú.
The only rounders.
Ujú. Ujú.
Comfortable header.
Ujú.
Manchester City had a major escape there, but they've had another reminder of Real Madrid's ability to counter on them and create even more issues for them. You imagine the rest of the game is going to be played largely in the Real Madrid half. Semenyo trying to get in behind. Frank Garcia has done very, very well,
¿Y por qué? Y
but the breakaway is still on.
Whilst they're doing, wasn't it? Kuznov was back there, but Spirit alone, it's just how open
ujú.
they were. Frank Garcia's got his hands full in the second half. Semenyo, he can goes both ways, but if you can just wait and
Ujú.
delay long enough,
No hay mucho, se la
it's Skip. But that skip delays and you're supposed to be looking at the goalkeeper.
Se iría por gusto, solo por ir.
He's paid the price.
Y otro lado, ¿te acordás que yo la vez pasada te dije que quisiera algo como así, como montañas o algo así? Mira, y te acordás una cosa que hay en Huayúa, los naranjos. ¿Te acordás que una vez lo vimos?
Much more again, Manchester City have had, but unfortunate not to be 4 down, and Real Madrid are a little unfortunate not to be
No,
on the side.
En vez de ir a Sur City. No, pero si es que a mí también mi mamá me dijo, fíjate, me dijo que Bartolo, y dice mi mamá que Bartolo es de Jucuarán. Y dice mi mamá que, porque nosotros estábamos viendo unos Airbnb en Jucuarán. Y dice mi mamá que eso es lejísimo. Ese Jucuarán de San Miguel. Eso afuera.
No, surely not. Valverde, Vinicius Junior.
Y él dice el viaje del día.
It's getting us again from Manchester City. Van Garcia.
Y
I should say the shot. Manchester City just a bit punch drunk because they can't quite clear their heads.
Yeah, tired, decision making's poor. Looking to rush things, looking to get out quick, and sometimes it's even at 3-0 down, it's not the time or the place. But
porque yo,
2% arms, you're good.
no, ya viste lo que,
All over the place, isn't it?
ya viste lo que me puso José.
Shit, it's not there right now. To
Que nada, y hace poco me volvió a escribir porque como ayer me llamó para decirme que la doctora ha pedido licencia de 1 año. De 1 año ha pedido licencia. Entonces él me dice, mire, me dice, no se preocupe. No se preocupe, yo me dice, ando haciendo todo lo posible. Tengo que traerle algo bonito a él del Salvador, un recuerdito bonito, porque ese hombre sí, y es puyellito, fíjate, es puyello. Pero mira, Claudia, qué hombre más lindo. O sea, lindo no físicamente, sino que, sí, fíjate, físicamente también no es feo, es bien simpaticón. Pero mira, conmigo me ha tomado un aprecio porque me dice, ay, van a haber 2 doctores. Me dice una doctora y un doctor. Pero la doctora yo ya la vi, me dice, y no, me dice, no es bueno. Yo la siento que no es bueno. Me dice, estoy haciendo todo lo posible, me dice, porque me la dejen con el doctor, me dice. Porque el doctor sí es bueno, me dice. Ese señor pelón es aquel. Sí, pues, entonces me dice, pero déjeme ver, me dice. Entonces ya de ahí yo le dije a José, fíjese que yo tengo una preguntita. Le digo yo, mire, él es nacido acá, pero no sé si el papá o la mamá es salvadoreño, o los dos, no sé. Él me dijo que él fue en diciembre a El Salvador, que él venía enamorado de El Salvador. Pero creo que los dos, los papás son de allá, pero él es nacido acá. Entonces, y le digo, José, ¿usted ha oído de las micheladas? "Ay, sí, me dice, son bien ricas. Le digo, ay, José, yo tengo ganas de una michelada. Le digo. Me dice, yo creería que se la puede tomar, pero déjeme y yo le pregunto al doctor mejor, me dice, porque la última palabra la tiene él, no yo, me dice. Y mira, ahora me escribió y me dijo que el doctor había dicho eso que te mandé, que el doctor dice que sí, pero él me dijo, no vas a emborracharse, dice, no, le dije yo, no, No, solo. No, no le dije. Entonces ese y
It's not just a really Alexander
este.
Raheem Diaz.
Ujú. Y de ahí, para el 4 de mayo me dejaron cita ahí, porque la tenían. Sí, ya me dijo él, porque yo le dije, José, estoy preocupada porque la enfermera me dijo que estas 4 inyecciones, que son las que comienzo el viernes, son las últimas. Le dije, no se preocupe, me dijo, yo quiero que se vaya tranquila a su viaje. A fin de mes, me dijo, ellas nos van a mandar un correo a nosotros diciendo que usted ya no tiene más refil. Y yo me dijo, y ahí nosotros le mandamos a decir que le vuelvan a refilar. Y si no, yo voy a estar pendiente, pero lo que yo quiero, me dijo, que vaya, que disfrute, que no se vaya a solear, que si va a tomar, tome con moderación, me dijo. Y por favor. Ujú. Ajá. No, que no me vaya, y sobre todo que no me vaya a solear para nada por un brote de lupus, y que no me preocupe, que mis inyecciones aquí estarán cuando yo regrese del viaje. No, Claudia, te digo, ese hombre descartado.
Ruben Diaz.
A caminar, y mi mamá, ajá, tal vez más después ya está más modernizado, ¿va? De aquí a unos 2 años.
One in front, they go around us, arriving belatedly. If you're going to go, you've got to commit, Manchester City. The body's in the box if you're going to bet it.
Ajá, no, sí, mi mamá también estaba diciendo.
Wonderful clearance by Rudiger, who celebrates as if he scored. Doku. Rodri. Linked it back into Jeremy. Back to close corner kick.
Entonces, descartado. Mejor hacemos un viaje para así, como para ese lugar.
That is all of everything, the instincts and everything that Tony Rudiger has in his body to stop that.
Pero nos iríamos siempre el lunes.
Real just
Sí, sí, porque porque nosotros supuestamente teníamos pensado ir Jueves Santo
easy for
a Huayúa, pero porque teníamos el viaje ahí a Sur City. Pero si podemos ir antes, sin tanta gente, está bien.
Raheem Diaz couldn't
O sea, sin tanta gente. Chuma.
hammer fingers about the tunnel. This is the last couple of games.
Me imagino yo que,
Dental issue of some
como
to murmurings about his form in Madrid.
Me imagino yo que como va a ser ya lunes santo, creería yo que van a abrir, porque ese lunes santo es que teníamos previsto, ¿no?
Manchester City Semenyo and Donald are going out.
Aunque sea vacación.
Nate Nuri
Pero
is
acuérdate que es cuando más aprovecha las notas.
spot the team since the end of January and has started to provide some telling assists.
Mm,
Ryan Shecky, who's actually started the last 3 Champions League games
estuvo bien.
for Manchester City, put in
Ujú.
for them against Galatasaray and then
Sí, no, ya fuimos. Pues.
Norway against Bodo Glimt.
Mm.
It's right to Camavinga.
So like sort of in the news.
A los naranjos.
Defensive reassurance.
Mm.
You know, O'Reilly. He's going to go in at left back and O'Reilly step into midfield in his more natural position. He's going to be an interesting one. He'll love to get forward in support of Doku.
Cabal. Así es.
Minutes will
Pues sí, eso sí.
Trent Alexander Arnold, but actually, with a lot of help from his friends, well,
Eso es.
he's
Ujú.
just about done with the threat so far. Dealing with Vinicius Junior is another matter.
Ajá.
He's on there. Oh, and he's let it slip.
Mm.
He managed to
Ay,
recover it.
wow.
Enough on the ball to convince a well-placed referee that that wasn't a foul and another.
Ajá, entonces ese lunes sería de agarrar para estos lugares, para atacar
That ball slipped away from him.
y ver si no, y si nos podemos quedar,
In defense
nos
to
quedamos,
Manchester City.
y si no, nos venimos. Pero ya está más cerca que San Miguel.
Riley now freed up into midfield. Good work by
Son como 3 horas, ¿verdad? ¿No te acordás aquella vez que fuimos a Taco?
Sorry to bring you Camavinga, but this was
Nosotros fuimos la vez, el Jueves Santo, que estaba porque al salir iba la procesión del silencio cuando fuimos, ¿no te
such a
recordás?
clean tackle.
Dios guarde.
He's up there for a second.
Nosotros ya fuimos a Taco, que fuimos a comer quesadilla, que la Cris nos llevó a comer quesadilla, que yo me comí una rigua que estaban vendiendo en la calle, que compré unos anillos para mis compañeros,
Madrid who benefit
que ahí,
the game of that kind.
oigan, a mi tía dice que no andaba ella, dice,
No andaba.
que fue llegando, que al regreso pasamos a comer pupusas antiguo, que nosotros que entramos antiguo y pum, que se le estalla la llanta a Daniel,
They haven't been able to catch up with it.
feel that there's been a mention.
que ellos habían ido en su carrito pequeño
Just anything you've
y
seen.
nosotros habíamos ido en el de ustedes.
So she will be
La Vale andaba.
picking up anything and controlling the loose balls.
No,
Son Claudia y Lalo.
nosotros.
Y nosotros. Chico,
Fue un día antes.
que fuimos a comer a un restaurante que nos sirvieron unos grandes pinchos. Que fuimos como a un hostalito que nos sirvieron unos grandes pinchos.
Fascinating to know how many touches the ball Erling Haaland's had tonight. It's not
Ajá.
Reinders.
Que cuando íbamos vimos a Nay Santo y vos me dijiste, bicha, tomate fotos con Nay Santo. Dios guarde, te dije yo.
In that midfield, blocking off that area.
Ujú.
Semenyo going
Bien fresquito el hostalito.
can close up Camavinga.
Ajá, ajá. Y de ahí fuimos a caminar, fuimos a la iglesia y estaba ya la procesión del silencio. Fue un Jueves Santo.
But there have been
Players who've been prepared to get their hands dirty and put their bunnies on the line and defend what Valverde has given them. Shaky takes. So soon as Thibaut Courtois
Cabal.
wins.
It's been fantastic from Courtois, hasn't he?
Cabal.
Corners, particularly from that second half, the second half on that side. 4 or 5 now, which have just been wasted really, either too close to Courtois or
Ajá.
the near post man. Had mismatches in there.
It's his 18th game against Manchester City tonight, and he's never kept the
Porque yo le dije, fíjate que tenemos planeado hacer un viaje a Sur City. No sé si te apuntas. Vino y me dijo, él sería chivo porque yo no conozco por esos lados el que conoce Daniel, me dijo, pero yo no conozco, me dijo. Sí, le dije yo, porque incluso yo le dije lo del
Just
turco
an instinct.
y ella me dijo que al turco no me prometía por los niños y que ahí pues sí, es más que todo es de adultos, ¿verdad? O sea, y que ellos no iban a disfrutar por Diego más que todo, vale, ya está grande. Pero yo le dije, bueno, si no puedes ir al turco, le dije yo, nosotros tenemos pensado el día siguiente pasar a almorzar donde Chepe Aleta, le dije. Ahí lo que podemos hacer,
The first time this game,
nosotros te avisamos
reception, it's
o te adelantamos a Chepe Aleta Y allá llegamos, le dije yo. Ah, eso podría ser también, todavía ella me dijo. Sí, porque nosotros tenemos ganas de conocer, porque nunca hemos ido. Y dicen que es bien rica la comida, ¿no? Bueno, el pescadito, le dije yo, lo más, sí, me quedé mal.
que la pelota.
Yo creo que pagar a esta hora compañera.
Esa es la pelota con la línea.
Ah, pues, y le dije yo, si no puedes ir al punto, o sea, no hay problema, le dije yo. No vamos a Chepialeta, le dije yo. Ah, chivo, me parece, me dijo, ¿verdad que eso qué?
Ujú.
Chivo, me dijo ella. Entonces, en eso se habíamos quedado. Le dije yo, y así almorzamos ahí, le dije. Pero ella me estaba contando que hoy que fueron a Taco, dice que cuando venían de regreso, a mí no me contó. Oh, creo que sí, no me acuerdo. Ahí estaba contando que cuando venían de regreso de Taco, fueron a comer donde Chepe Alet. Fueron donde Chepe Alet. Ajá. Ya no le pregunté, fíjate. Entonces, pero ella me dijo que al punto sí no me prometió, no, como que no, pues. Ajá, sí, no, yo sé.
The Manchester City goal in this final 15 minutes would just change the complexion of the tie. So would a Real Madrid goal, by the way.
Just felt with that save from quarter arch, just
Ajá.
tilted it back to Real Madrid. It would have been
Ajá.
10 minutes or so remaining here, and then another 90 back at Manchester.
Descartado.
Trying to go it alone. Good block, good bounce.
No, hoy bien matado.
Again.
Solo en ir.
Just confidence of playing, confidence on the ball, but
No, mejor.
don't get it right at the back or have the best in the world behind you. Just great
Sí.
football between them. Don't do that again.
Valverde just goes off. Remaining shaking off that injury.
Sí. Eso sí.
Relay football from Real Madrid.
Bueno,
Sydney's gone against Snowmalinga. Manchester City having to take some chances, man.
La Guayúa cuando empieza ahí.
He's just slipped into the Manchester City team as he's been with them all his life, but his ninth appearance this team has been an uncomfortable
que fueron de la noche. Una de gestiona por el campo. Uy,
Cherokee. It's just a chance that Jude Bellingham might figure in a week's time. He's reversing a hamstring problem, and he's doing light training now. Nobody really knows about Mbappe, but Rodrigo has no chance. This is Cherokee, and now Cocker plays square of him.
His instinct just took over to come inside, thinking the space is where it is and go for goal. And just drive in. He decides to cut back inside and into traffic. It's been big moments for Manchester City in there. They've just not been clinical enough with.
Slight hand on. Ignore his shoulder from Mastantuano, concedes the free kick. just the history of this fixture, the modern history of this fixture, tells you it's not over somehow. It's fourth and Kusanov. Check this out. It's on the games he's coming up. Madrid seeking out riders. I think they head up Rudiger. It's so cool from Alexander Arnold.
¿Cuánto? 11. Ahora.
Many drifting in between his centre backs. Would love just to play this out now. It's an interesting balance, isn't it? Keep feeling. And wow, they've enjoyed the first half. It was glorious. Just feel that they feel they need another. Was the other card for 8-0 rest of the night. Take these. Thinking, love another. I don't think Harlan's gone up for the air. I mean, this night just continues to surprise. Omar Marmoush, who scored a couple at Newcastle on Saturday, actually started 6 of the last 8, certainly deserves a chance. He has been through the last
Yes, I
few
am.
days.
Yes, I am.
With by Rodri, Cherky down to Doku. So almost going to be with plus on the far side. So we cover 34 in January. Can come on his place. Players on this continent, more championship experience as an English combination. More times we cover.
Ay, no. Se popusita. Se popusita, mano. Se popusita. Que ya se la por el pido yo de partido.
No, I don't know.
To be really
Ay, bien.
stroke of I think one of those 4 Fetty Valverdes on the field kept helping him out. There are 4, I think.
Y hoy me tenías que dar los 36
Fetty and Daisheki
del 6 de la familia.
Times did enough.
No fue familia.
¿Qué te he dicho?
5 now of Fetty
El 11, ¿te acuerdas que te dije?
slipping in out the right back position, right wing back.
Oh, del show.
Who's your player of the match?
De la banda.
Third position.
No te lo puedo mandar.
Still competing for the ball. Still forcing the side to get a
Se afecta la mosca.
I've always been listening to whispers about his defending for much of his career, a career which has taken him to 3 Champions League finals. Remember, he's still only 27 years of age. Youngest man ever to start 3 finals. He gives you so much creatively, but he's seen out his day job. He's planning this game. Protecting his plan. Still finding it small for Manchester City to retrieve something from this victory night for them in Madrid. Tottenham Hotspur England beaten 5 times.
Y ahora, ¿por qué?
Esta es la pelota.
Manchester City breached 3 times tonight at the Bernabeu. Something in the air.
It's more off the shot. So City coming into the game as favourites to win it the Bernabeu as well as over 2 legs. Just here you can see it like this. The right hand side of Manchester City has been completely left void by everybody. And now
Ruben Diaz. Looking to make something of it. That's a little bit loose from Valverde. That's almost a mistake. So we've got this from Torno. There's the players. This may be time for me to confess that I spent some time prior to the game. Looking at big Real Madrid defeats, just felt that depleted by injuries against a very attack-minded Manchester City lockout, they might just suffer here tonight. Well, now I'm looking at record Manchester City defeats. They're only one short of their worst ever European setback. No, in his career has returned to the new camp. Well, Messi got a hat-trick that night. Well, tonight another South American has delivered serious hurt to Guardiola's hopes, taking his team back to the final.
even the most optimistic Real Madrid fans have expected this. So expecting clear daylight to take back to Manchester. Still to be seen whether there's a few more twists in the tail.
He wants to go forward, but he's got to go back in order to do it. They didn't win a major trophy last season. Manchester City for the first time since 65. Real Madrid didn't win any of their priority trophies. They did beat Chuka in a one-off match in Qatar to lift the FIFA Intercontinental Cup.
What?
But neither club possession since the spring of 2024.
Démela, démela,
TR11
démela.
chance to change that in a way with Cup against Arsenal that you can stream
Démela.
a week on Sunday. It's the Carabao Cup final, March 22nd, 12:30 lunchtime kickoff Eastern time in London. Here's Marmouche. He was just fouled. It was a game attempt to win the ball by Manuel Angel, but he just got a bit of Marmouche.
Just from behind, wasn't it? It's the ball. Big moments. 3-1 would feel very, very different for Manchester City after Real Madrid. Delivery's been poor so far. Not sure whether they'll get to have another go at it, but feeling this could be the best chance they have in the remainder of the game.
Just taking a shot. It's like keep up with one.
Sounds like they've been thinking second half a little bit muddled, a little bit mixed, not really clear cut from Manchester City.
It's now a very young Real Madrid team. Both teams have league games against clubs involved in relegation fights this coming Saturday. Elche come here. Manchester City face West Ham in London. Real now 4 points behind Barcelona with a new Camp Clasico to come in May. City 7 points behind Arsenal with a game in hand. Arsenal still to visit Manchester the next month. Lots of football still to play. And the return leg of this tie is next Tuesday at the usual time. I'll see you there. Already minutes. Doku. very well defended. Manuel Angelas made a good impression since coming on. Baby's made a good impression on the night. Like Eddie.
Démosle. Démela. Deme la pelota.
Rodri.
Démela. Démela. Démela.
Sure, hasn't it? Two centre halves for Madrid. I feel it's been a creaking, leaking defence of Real Madrid. It's been as assured as they can have it, really. The course of 90 minutes is as good as they can.
Doing what he does in the second foot corner.
Less and less of a say as the game's gone on. Doku, it felt like he could be one of the key men.
Short to Nuri. Champion. Doku couldn't control it. Shaky. And a chip before Mustang Toronto, who's back up, he's taking him too much. Who's dispossessed him? Lottery. It's a lot mosh. Chance for Shaky to pick out a
¿Y qué quieren, no?
Yo no sé.
Ya la caída fue.
here. Shaky. Need to thread one through the Marmosh. Valverde's there protecting his gains. Performing in his own half as spectacularly well as he has in the Manchester City half.
No, a la calle ya fue.
93rd minute. Valverde's had a say all the way through this game. Has been utterly brilliant. Just been trying. Bit too cute, too clever Manchester City. Had success in the first half. Getting to the byline, struggled to really make inroads in the second.
A half-hearted appeals for a handball by Fran Garcia, but its arm was tucked into his body. His elbow. City have got to try to do what Real Madrid have done to them in the recent past. Deliver a magical night of their own in Manchester next Tuesday. Camavinga. Vinicius Jr., whose durability is extraordinary, really. His 2 games this season, one through suspension, one when he was rested. He just never injured. Marmouche, challenged by Hassan. Another extraordinary football that they've done about. 3 wonderful goals from Fede Valverde in the first half have won the night for Real Madrid. It didn't end there. Vinicius Jr. had a chance to increase their lead from the spot. Thibaut Courtois made an
Se acabó. Se acabó el partido, ganaron al Madrid a 0 con una acción de Valverde. Un buen partido. Todo así, el partido de vuelta. Martes. Y bueno, nos voy despidiendo. Muchísimas gracias. Conocemos. Mañana recibiremos uno de nuevo. Cuídense mucho y nos vemos en la próxima. Adiós.